Hello friends, and in this video we are going to learn about React.js. And if you don't know about React.js, it's a JavaScript library for building user interfaces using components and states and all. So we will learn about that in this video. Before we dive into React.js, there are some prerequisites you need to have, like you need to have basic understanding of HTML and JavaScript. If you don't know about JavaScript, I would highly recommend you to watch other creators' video. And also you can check out javascript.info website, which is a very great website to learn JavaScript. Let me show you the roadmap what we are going to do in this video. First, we'll understand the fundamentals of JavaScript, which includes components, JSX, props, and states. Next, we'll move on to UI design using a CSS framework called Chakra UI. It's because I'm not going to waste my time designing UI part with CSS, so we're going to go with Chakra UI. Next, we will set up a router because React doesn't give you a routing system out of the box, so we have to set up a third-party routing system, which is a React Router DOM. So we'll see how we can set up that. And next, what we're going to do is use some APIs. I mean, there is one API for like a fake store API, which provides you a fake store system. Like you can get some products, price, images, and text titles, all that things. So we're gonna look in the API and implement inside our application. Also, we will add some search bar and the filters. This is gonna be an interesting video, so stick to it and let's start. So to create a React project, you need to have Node.js installed on your PC. The other way is using static HTML, which I'm not gonna go because it's not very efficient. So we're going to go with CRA, which is a Create React app from Facebook. So you need to have Node.js installed on your PC. If you don't have Node.js installed, I'll put the link in the description below so you can check it out. Next, what you want to do is open up terminal. If you're in Windows, you can use command prompt. So let's go into our terminal and type in, let's change our directory to desktop. cd desktop. And in here, we're going to create a workspace folder if you don't have, mkdir. And if you're in Windows, you can use md workspace like this. I already have, so it shows an error. Let's change up the workspace. And in here, we are going to type in npx create react app and then the project name. Let's call it fake store and hit enter. This is going to create a React project for us, so it will take some time and I'll be back when it's finished. As you can see, the installation was finished. And next, what we are going to do is open this folder inside VS Code. If you don't have VS Code installed, you can download. I'll put the link in the description. So when you open your VS Code, it might look something different from this because I have some themes installed, so don't worry about that. Then go to File and click on Open. And we're gonna choose Desktop, Workspace, and then this fake store and click Open. When you first open your project, you will see some files and folders inside your project. If you have node modules, which contains all the modules, if you don't know, all the modules to run our project. And next we have public folder. This is the public folder, and inside this we have index.html. This file contains an element, div element with id root. This is where our all application is going to be rendered inside this this element. This is here. So this is a very important file. And next we have src folder. This contains all the source code for your application. So if this is the entry file, and as you can see that React is rendering app component to the element with id root, which we saw earlier in the index.html here. Every React app has a top level component called app. It contains all the child components. So this app is a top level component, app.js. You can say that. Let's try to run our project. If we change drive to fake store and let's yarn start. If you don't have yarn installed, you can use npm start. It's same. I'm using yarn because it's more efficient. All right, as you can see, the app is opened inside a browser on port 3000. That's the default port on which the React application runs. So Let's go ahead inside app.js and have a look. And we don't want these, so we can remove this. Also, we don't need CSS and logo. You can also remove it. All right. Now let's render hello world. If you hit save, you can see that it changes hello world. So as you can see, this is a function app. There are two ways to create a function in React. First one is using class, and the second one is using function. And function is more efficient as compared to a class component because it gives you more efficient way and more easy way to debug your application. So we're gonna go with functional component. All right. As you can see that this is a function and it's being exported by default app. You can see that. And this returns an HTML like content, but it's not HTML, it's called JSX, which is the combination of JavaScript and HTML. So if we go ahead and if you want to use JavaScript inside this, you can use by using braces. Let's show the date. We can do that by using new date.toString, and if you hit save, we can see the date. This is JavaScript X JSX or JavaScript XML. It is the combination of HTML and JavaScript. So as you can see, we are using HTML development, and inside it we are using JavaScript. You can also use create constants like this. Let's say constant name is equal to Zen, and in here we can use the variable name just like this. And if you hit save, we can see Zen. Let's add hello and the name. There we go. Also, you can read JSON values. Let's say if you have some data inside it, you have time, which is new date dot to string, and you can render date dot time data dot time. If you hit save, you can say we can see that it shows the date. You can also use ternary operators. Let me show you. If you have something like this, a boolean value, let's say is admin is equal to false, and you can add some conditional here, like is admin. If it's an admin, we'll show welcome admin. Else it's gonna render welcome user. If you hit save, we can see that it says welcome user because is admin is false. If we change it to true, oh my god. And if you hit save, it says welcome admin. Alright. This is called conditional rendering. You can also use you can use whatever you want here. Let's say if you want to render h1 tag with hello admin. If you hit save, it says hello admin and h1 tag. If you change it to false, it says welcome user. This is called conditional rendering. Now let's see how we can use arrays. If you have a value, let's say to do is equal to feed cats, and then you have play games, play fix computer. All right. Now what we are going to do is loop through to do using map function. Let me show you. To do dot map. It's to do's. To do's dot map. To do. And if we wrap this inside a UL like this, and in here we're gonna return for every element li with the value. So this value will be feed cats, play games, and then fix computer. So what it's going to do is we have wrapped ul. We have wrapped this function with ul, so it's gonna return every element with li. So let's see how it looks like. There we go. And if we change it to ol ordered list, and there we go. Now let's talk about props or properties. Props is a built-in React object that stores the value of a tag's attribute and functions similarly to HTML attributes. It allows data to be passed from one component to another in the same way that arguments are passed in a function. So if we create a let's create a new component called let's say a list item, and we are going to return a ul no li with let's say hello world. Now instead of li we are going to render list item just like this, and if you hit save we say it says hello world 3 times. This is not what we want. We want the value to be displayed over here. So we can pass values to this list item component using props. To do that, you just type in, let's say, text is equal to do. There we go. And in here, we can extract the properties using props dot whatever the key is. In this case, it's text. Or you can destruct the value just like this. So you don't have to type props dot text, just directly text. This is the ES6 feature, I think. So if you hit save, there we go. Feed cats, play games, and computer. If you want to add, let's say, to do, or if you hit save, there we go. To do, feed cats, play games, fix computer. All right. This we created a component list item, and we are passing text with the value to do, which is coming from this array. So it's returning an li element with to do and the text we are passing in here, and we can see that it looks like this. Now let's set up our UI library called Chakra, as I told you before. So to do that, go to chakraui.com and click on Get Started and pick your installation code. If you're using NPM, you can just copy this. If you are using Yarn, you can copy this one. I'm going to copy Yarn one and enter in the console. So it'll take some time. I'll be back when it's finished. As you can see, the installation was finished. It didn't take too long. So next we have to set up a provider, because to work Chakra UI correctly, you need to set up a provider at your root of your application. So let's import Chakra UI and paste in here, and we are gonna wrap app component inside Chakra. So we can do that by just like this. And let's start our development server. That's it for the setup. All right, let's wait. There we go. Now let's create a components folder inside src to store all our components. Oh, sorry. Components, and in here we are going to create store.js. This will be the store page, I mean home page, or you can say store page. Store. This will return an h1, let's say box, and this box will be imported from Chakra UI React. Let me show you what box exactly is. If you go to documentation of Chakra UI and go to box, box is the most abstract component. It returns, by default it returns a div element. So basically we are returning a div element just like this. But if you're using box, you can use some additional features from Chakra, like background color for BG, and you have display just like D, or there are a lot and we'll learn, so don't worry about that. And let's call it store. And in app.js, let's remove all these. We don't need that. Just render store. Oh, we forget to export it. Export default store. And in here we can, there we go, automatically imported from component/store. If you hit save and go to here, we can see store. All right, now let's create a variable called store items, which will be an array. Let's say computer, then books, then CD games, just like that. And we're gonna pass this variable as a property into the to the store component, just like this. Items will be store items, and inside our store component, we can extract the property like this items, and we are going to render the items just like we did before with the I don't know, items, just like before. So items.map item, and this will return a box, which is a div again. So, and heading is also being imported from React Chakra. So this will be item, and if you hit save, we can see something like this. Now let's create a card, a store item component, store item. This will return a box with the title, and instead of this, we are going to return store item, and we're gonna pass title as the item name item, and instead of this, we will return a box with heading item. If you hit save, you'll oh, sorry, it's title. You won't see any changes. So let's go ahead and then style this component. Let's add some padding 4, and heading size will be medium, which is MD, just like that, and add a border radius of large, and border width of 1 pixel. If you hit save, you will see something like this. To add some spacing between them, as you can see, they don't have any spacing. We can wrap this inside a stack. Let me show you what a stack exactly is. If you if you wrap them inside a stack, you will see some spacing. If you want to learn more about stack, you can visit Chakra UI docs. So stacks is a layout component that makes it easy to stack element together, uh, and also applies a space between them. So it's basically adding space between two elements. All right. Now let's add a button. This is also being imported from Chakra UI React. So add item. Let's add an input box. Also placeholder. Item name. Okay, let's add some margin between them. You can do that by using margin top, which is empty. Let's say 10. All right, there we go. Also, let's add a padding to this all these elements. Let's say 4, and there we go. And we also need some padding over here. Oh, sorry, margin. There we go. This looks cool. All right, now let's see if someone wanna add an item to the store. I forget to add price. We can do that by removing these all and pass in title. Computer price will be 20, and let's loop all this like this and change computer CD games. Price will be $32,000, and next item will be keyboard, which let's say 50. And inside the store, we want to use title item dot title. If you hit save, we can see something like this. And let's add another text to display the price. We are gonna accept the price just like this, and in here we're gonna pass the price is equal to item dot price, and let's display price. All right, 30, and to display the price in single line, or you can say flex, you can use flex box, which is also getting imported from Chakra UI. So just like this, and align items will be center. There we go. And to add the spacing between them, like if you want to have this number in the right side, you can add spacer, which adds spacing between two elements inside the flexbox. There we go. Instead of using text, we're going to use tag. All right. If you hit save, there we go. 200, 30, and 50. Let's add a dollar sign. All right. This looks better. Now let's say if someone want to add an item. Also, let's ask for the price. Price will be type number, just like that. Margin top will be 2. All right. This is the item name and price. Now, how are we gonna do that? Like, we are getting store from this side. How we can update this array from this page or this component? To do that, we have something called state. So, state is a React object that contains data or information about a component. And the state of a component can change over time, and whenever it does, it re-renders that component. So to do that, we're gonna create a state inside our application folder and store this value inside the state. So if it updates, it's gonna re-render our whole state store component. So it will update the value. To do that, we first have to import state from React, just like this. Use the state, and in here we're gonna use something like this. Use a state. This returns 2 elements in for an array, and it accepts as a default value. So let's pass in here as a default value, and this will be store item. This is the variable name, or you can say state name, and the another one is a function to update this to state value. Let's call it set store item. You can call this function with some parameters to update the value of the state, and when something updates in the state, it will re-render this complete component, whatever inside this. So store will be re-rendered with the new data. So let's see. Instead of store items, we're gonna pass a store item like this. So we're passing from state. If you hit save, we will see some. Oh, sorry, it's an array. All right, there we go. You won't see any changes. So when someone clicks on add, we are going to send back the value from this component to the app component, and in here we are gonna accept the value and insert inside this store. So when we insert inside this store item state, this will re-render the store component with the latest value, so it will affect the render. I mean, it will add a new value over here. So let's do that. All right. To get the value from input, we can use reference. Let's do it by, let's call it item name reference will be useRef. And as you can see, useRef is being imported from React. You can add references like this. Let me show you. Reference will be this item name reference, and let's create another reference for item price ref, just like that. And the reference will be item price reference. And when we click on the button or on click, we want to call a function, and this will call another function. Let's say on item add will be a function, and it's gonna have one argument. Let's say item data. Let's console the data, item data, just like that. If we call this item add on item add function from the store component from here, we can accept it like this on item add. If we call this function, what this will do is it go back to the app.js and render this block, this function block. So it should console log the whatever we are going to send, whatever we are going to send. So let's see. On click, we are going to call item on item add with the title will be item name. Oh, sorry, it's name, not nah. Alright, just like that. It was a typo. So item title will be item name reference dot current dot value. This will pick the value whatever is inside this input box because it's a reference to this. So and the price will be item price reference dot current dot value. If you hit save and let's open up our console like this, and if you type in something and add the price, if you click on add item, we can see that it says title whatever we type, and the price will be this. So if we go back to app.js and as you can see that it says data, which means that this function is being called. So now what we are going to do is update the store item value. So we can call set store item to store the value. How we can do that is by calling set store item with the previous one store item and the new one. This is a JavaScript. If you don't know that, it will add all the previous items, I mean whatever the value is over here, and another element with whatever we are passing here, item data. So if you hit save and let's say mouse will be $25, and if you click on add item, there we go, mouse $25. That's how the state works. Mouse 2, there we go. What it's doing is we are passing items, store item value. This is the default value. We are passing another property with which is a function, and it updates the state with the previous one and the new one. And in store.js, this is a component. We are calling on click. We are calling the same function, this function, with this value, with JSON value, with the title and the price from whatever the user types in the input box. So if you hit refresh, it's gone. Let's say monitor will be $200, and if you click on add item, there we go, monitor $200. That's how the state works inside the React application. Now we are going to use a free API called, let me show you. Fake store API to fetch some fake products. Let me show you. Just like this. It says ID, title, price, description, category, men's clothing, and image. This also contains product image, so this will be fun. For that, we are going to use Axios. I know there is a fetch API inbuilt inside the React app. I mean React inside React, so I love using Axios. So it's very easy to do that. Type in yarn add Axios, just like that. And when it's finished, you can start the development server again, and let me all right, now let's go to app.js. We are going to use another state is also a hook, so we're gonna use another hook called useEffect. Let me show you what it does. useEffect, it accepts a function and another one as an array. If you pass, let's say if you put store item in this array, what it will do whenever this store item, this store items update its value, its state value, this function will be called. If you don't pass anything, what it will do is just call it one time. So whenever this app renders, first time it will be called. We can use Axios like this. Import Axios from Axios and Axios.get. This is a get method. So let's put in the link like this, and then we can extract the data. Console.log data. If you refresh the page, There we go, we get the 20 data, just like that. And let's update the store item. Set store item will be data. If you hit save, there we go, we get all the data with the price and all everything. It looks ugly. Let's change it to something else. Let's remove this. We don't need anything by default. Alright, there we go. It looks good. And the heading size will be SM and font weight will be normal. There we go. Also, we need this in as a card, so we can do that by adding a grid system. Let's say, let's remove this stack and add simple grid from Chakra UI, which will contain the columns of let's say 4. And there we go, and add some spacing also. Spacing will be 4, or just like that. And as you can see, this is overflowing, so we can fix it by passing number of lines will be 1, or let's say 2. There we go. And the tag will be down, just like that. And because we don't need flex, so just remove it. And add a margin top of 4. There we go. This looks good. Let's remove this, we don't need that. That was just for the demonstration of state. So let's remove it. Alright, there we go. And add a heading, H8 box, H8 heading. Let's say fake store. Padding will be 4. Or let's create another component called header.js. This will be a function named header. This will return a box from Chakra UI and a heading. Heading will be whatever we will pass to the component as a props. Let's say title. And heading also being imported from Chakra. Let's display the title. Add some padding. Let's say 4 and shadow of medium. And we're gonna render that component over here. HATIR header. Oh, we have to export it. Export default header. And in here we can just should auto import just like that, auto import it from /header. If you hit save, oh, we see an error. Box. Oh, we forget to close this. Alright, there we go. And also we have to pass the title. Let's say fake store. Alright. Add a margin top of 4. There we go. And also padding of 2. Okay, this looks good. Alright, now if you look in the API, you can see that it also gives you the image. So we can display the image over here. Let's add an image element from Chakra. Image from Chakra. SRC will be image. And we're gonna pass everything over here. So we can do that by item. This will pass everything: title, price, image, whatever we are getting from, I mean this variable, which is everything: ID, title, price, description, category, and image. So we are passing everything over in the as a prop to this store item component. So we can directly use image just like this. If you hit save, we can see it shows image just like that. As you can see, it's small, this one is large. We can fix it by providing a height of, let's say, empty, oh, width of, we can provide width of 12, okay, 24. This looks good, and let's add it to the center using center element. There we go. Oh, this looks ugly. We can fix it by using simple. We are using simple grid, but we are not using grid item. So we have to use grid item to fix that. Just like this. If you hit save, you can see something like this. All right. The auto spacing between them. Also, let's add a margin top of 4. All right. Now let's create a search box. Input placeholder will be search, just like that. There we go. And let's add a margin top over here and over here too. All right. Let's wrap this inside a box and add a padding 2 to apply to both of these elements. There we go. And to search, we are going to need another variable. So use the state. We're gonna use state items. The default value will be whatever we are getting from the app.js from over here. So we can just like that. And on change, we are going to search from items. Okay, wait. This will be filtered. Let's call it filtered items. Set filtered items. Alright. We are going to render the filter items.map. This is same because we are using items as a default value for the filtered item. And if someone types in inside this input box, we are going to unchange our we are going to filter out based on the query we are getting from this input box. So we can do that by items.map item. Let's say let f is equal to items.filter item.title.includes e.target.id and set filtered items f. Also, let's lowercase it to lowercase. If you type in f, oh, let me just console it. Oh, sorry, it's idm dot value. There we go. If you search for main, there we go. We get the main items. I mean, let's say search for wt. Wt because we are lowering case. So let's also lowercase the value. Dot to lowercase. Alright, if you type in capital, whatever letter, whatever case, it doesn't matter because we are lowering case both the items and item title and the value. So it doesn't matter. Check it. There we go. Alright. I found a bug here that if we refresh the page, if you don't type anything, it will not display any result. Let's say if we type in X and delete it, then it's gonna display all these results. To fix that, we are going to use useEffect because the next time the value is being sent from this this side, it's not updating the filtered item because it's already set. So we can use useEffect, and in the array we're going to pass items because whenever it's update, this function will be called. So next time it will update, we're going to update the filtered items with the value. So if you refresh the page, there we go, it worked. All right, also let's display loading animation. So we can do that by adding a new state for loading, or we can use, let's add the loading state. Use a state loading, which will be by default true, sorry, not false, true. And we're gonna pass another props called loading, will be loading. And when it successfully fetch the data, we're gonna set loading will be false. All right. And in here we can remove this, we don't need that. Let's add loading. And if it's loading, we are going to render spinner, which is from Chakra UI. Else it's gonna render this box, which contains all these things. So just like that, you can see that it contains box from here. This will render if it's not loading. If it's loading, it's gonna render just a spinner. If you hit save and refresh the page, we can see loading, and then we see this. So also let's center this using center, and the margin top will be 6. All right. Now if you refresh, there we go. That's it. All right. Next, what we want to do is add a product page. For that, let's say if someone clicks on this product, this will open up as a new route. Let's add it. Let's set up the React router. React router DOM, this website, reactrouter.com, and React npm install React router DOM. So let's go to terminal and type in yarn add React router DOM, and then enter. It will gonna take some. All right, it didn't take any time, so that's it. Yarn start, and let's go to this website and let's see how we can set up. First, import the React router from DOM inside our app.js, and just copy this. I'm gonna explain. So instead of inside our app.js, we are going to, let's store this element, this component inside a variable. Store view is equal to store, and we're gonna render this. Let me show you. We are going to render a router, and let me show you. Just forget about this for a moment. Just forget about this. So if you go here and see, it's at by default it is slash. By default it's slash. Know that. So if you hit enter, we can see it says homepage. Now let's say if you want to go to slash about just like that. If you hit enter, it's gonna render about page. How we can do that is by using React router, which we just imported. We just installed and then imported, and we added a router, then switch, then route path slash will render homepage, and path slash about will render let's say about page. If you refresh, it doesn't work because it's a reading slash from here too, so we can fix it by using exact. If you hit save, there we go, about page slash home will be homepage, and something else won't display anything. You can also add a fallback. You can call it fallback, nothing path, say 404 page. There we go. Not found. And if you go to about page, if you go to home page, there we go, home page. Now in the home page, instead of home page, we are going to, there is another way of rendering by passing component will be, this is a function props. Props will contain all the properties from this URL, like the route, location and the parameters like that. So it's better to use like this props. It's gonna render return, or we can just directly render like this store view. All right, let's remove these two. And if you hit save, oh, because it's not a component, we have to render this. All right, instead of this, we just render this. All right, if you save, there we go. You can see something like this. That's it for the home page. And now let's add a product page. Like if someone clicks on this, it's gonna open up in a big view in a big view. So let's create another component called product.js, and this is a function product. This will return a box by default, and product page. All right, now if you go to store and add a link, like if someone clicks on this, it's gonna push something, let's say ID, something like this. As you can see in the API, every item has an ID. So over here, we are going to use link, which is from React Router. Let me show you. Imported from the link from React Router DOM. React Router DOM. So link to this means that where you wanna redirect the user. We can call it item.id. If you hit save and just wait, we're gonna slash item.id. And if you, as you can see at the bottom, it says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so something like that. To make it more professional, you can do something like this, product/id. There we go. And inside app.js, we can add another route, just like that. Path will be /product/ and ID could be anything, like you don't know, it could be from 0, 1 to 3 ABCD, anything. So to fetch what's exactly passed here, we can use parameters just like this, and this is going to render the component props. This is all the properties we get from, we can fetch this ID from this props, we can see that later. So let's say product page, product. Oh, I think we are not exporting it. Export default product. All right, product. There we go. The product is imported from component/product. This looks better. All right, we're gonna pass all the properties to this product component. We can do that by using props. There we go. This is passing all the properties we are getting from props to the product component. Now we go to product component and the logs, console.logs, the properties we are getting here. There we go. We're getting history, location, parameters, and there we go. We get the ID 7 because the product/ID. This is the ID, so we're getting 7. If we type in 50, we can get 50, something like that. Match.params. There we go. ID 50. All right. Now what we want to do is move this useEffect to the store page over here. So let's cut this because it's better to have this router at the app. So let's move it over here. And also this one. All right. Instead of items, we are not passing anything in the store, so we can remove that. And instead of items, we can use store items because it's store items. By default, it's empty. And the another one is to store the filtered item. So we are not filtering this store item because if we filter the store item, the previous data will be erased. So we have to use another variable to store the filtered item. All right. If you hit save, I think they show an error. Items not defined. Also Axios. We have to import Axios. Import Axios from Axios. Items not defined on line 37. Oh, there we go. Items. This will be nothing by default, and 48. 48. Instead of items, we're going to use the store items. We don't need that. We can just set filtered items data, just like that. There we go. Oh. Oh, we forgot to save it. Store item, we don't need that. We just want to render the store component. Just like that. There we go. It's working. And if we go to slash, let's say if you go to slash product slash one, we can see the product page. All right. Now let's design the product page. Okay. We are going to create a header component to display the title of the item. Let's call it header. Will be component. This will return a box and a heading with the title we are passing as a property title, and this will be a padding of 2 and shadow will be medium. And there are two ways we can either we can pass all the item name, I mean item data to this as a prop, or we can just fetch using the API the product detail. Let's if you go to get a single product using the ID, we can either do this, or we can just pass in the data. We just click on any item, any product. So let's say if we click on product 3, we can pass all the data of product 3 as a property to the product component, or we can fetch using this ID. Let's pass as a state to the product component. So if you go to store and in here it says 2, let's remove this and add path name of this, and the state will be item. What it will do is if we click on this product, it will capture the state, I mean the data of this product, which is item, and pass this this data, product data, as a state to another route. To, let's say we have product over here, so we can get it. Let's log the value. If we click on this product, we can see that it says match location.state. There we go. We get all the data of the product we clicked on. So we can extract it by from location equal to location.state. Okay, state. If we log in the state, if we refresh the page, there we go. We get the all state. If we open it a new tab, we will not get the state, because we'll not get the state because we are not passing anything, because it's opening as a new one, so it will not get the state. We have to click on something like, let's say this one, we'll get the state of that item. So we have to click on something to get this of that value to the another component or another route. So there we go. All right, if there is no state, if state is equal undefined, or if there is no state, we will redirect the user to the home page slash. Now let's, if you open this product in another tab, we will be redirected to home page. There we go. That's okay. So now let's design the home page. First, we're gonna render the header with the title will be uh, state dot title. There we go. White gold plated princess. Okay. Add a padding of 4. All right. Now let's display the product image using image, which is also being imported from Chakra. src will be state.image. There we go. It looks ugly. Let's add some width of MD, which is medium, or SM, XS. This looks good. Does it look good? No. Let's add a value of 64, maybe 48. All right. Add a box. Add a padding of 8. There we go. And display will be flex, and align items will be center, and add another box, and add a heading, price, state.price. All right, that's a $sign. And add a margin left of maybe 4. And also add a description. Let's use text. I don't know why auto import is not working. Text state.description, I think. Yeah, description. There we go. Add a margin top of 3. All right. Let's add a button. Buy now. Size will be SM, small, and margin top will be, we are using margin top every time, so instead of doing that, we can wrap this inside a stack, so it will add spacing between them. And the width will be SM or XS, and the spacing will be of 4. There we go. Buy now. Or let's add another button to share the product. Let's add it, share product. If you want to add this in a single line, we can use vertical stack, which is also from Chakra. As you can see, vertical stack. Oh, no, sorry, it's horizontal stack. Horizontal stack, not vertical. There we go. And let's add a color scheme of, or color scheme. Let's say purple. There we go. Buy now. Share product. All right. If you go back and click on something else, let's say this one. There we go. Price. And this description, buy now, and share product. Now on smaller screen, we wanna break this break line. So we can do that by we'll add grid system. So let's do it. Simple grid and grid item, and inside grid item we are gonna add first one, this is image, and then another one we are going to display the data of the product. And let's add a column of 5. The first one will contain a span of 2, and then the second one will be span of 3. So 3 plus 2 is 5. Let's do it 1. This one 4. Okay, it looks 2, 3. There we go. This looks good. And on smaller device, we want to display in 1 by 1. So we can do that by using Um, on smaller device, on base, we can call it base. Base, it will be, the columns will be 1, and on me from medium to large and XL, it will be 5. And there we go. The base is, if you have MD and base together, what it will do is base will be everything below MD. If you have LG here, the base will contain MD, SM, and XS. So if you have MD here, the base will be XS and SM, not MD. So from medium to large and XL, the columns will be 5, and for the XS and SM, the columns will be 1. So it's gonna look something like this. Also, let's center the image using center, just like that. There we go. Also add a spacing, horizontal stack. No, stack. Spacing will be 4. Alright, there we go. What else we can do? Okay, let's add the category, because we are also getting, let me show you. We are also getting category like men's clothing, jewelry. There we go. We can also display the category over at the bottom. So let's do it by adding a text, another text with state.category. Alright, men's clothing. Let's italic it by as I, which is italic. There we go. Men's clothing. Instead of text, let's use tag. It will look better. We are importing tag from Chakra UI. So remove as. Oh. There we go. Margin top will be 2. Alright, men's clothing. And if jewelry, electronics, women's clothing.